Hey, I'm Eric Perkins. Welcome to our channel about construction stuff. Today we're going to do a video about the behind the scenes stuff that has to happen before you do any woodwork on your project. If you're building a garage or a shed or a house, there's a lot of things you have to do to get the site ready, get the grading ready, get your infrastructure ready, like your sewer and water. And I'm going to show you a few things about this house. We're on a brand new site today and how we did it. All right, number one, and this is really simple actually, right back here, there's a porta-john, and you actually can't get any inspections done in our state until you have that porta-john sitting on your job site. So that's one of the first phone calls I make, bring a porta-john to the job. All right, number two, we have this big, beautiful lot with a mountain view, and we had to decide where on this lot we would put the house. So there's three main factors here. Number one is, where is the soil suitable? And on this lot, it's mostly towards the back because the front side is mostly fill dirt that was dirt pulled off of this hill and pushed off the side of the mountain. And you can't build a house on that unless you dig all the way down through it to the original soil. And sometimes that can be like 10 or 20 feet deep in this area. So that's number one. Number two is you need to figure out if there is existing infrastructure, where is it? And that was a huge problem on this house. There was an existing septic system. We actually tore a house down that was right here where I'm sitting, and we couldn't find it, okay? The health department couldn't find the actual permit telling us where the tank and the septic lines were. So we spent a whole day digging around, probing, trying to find the tank until we located the tank, the distribution box, and all the lines. And we have to stay a minimum of 5 feet from all of those things with our house. And that's very important. And the third thing in this area is the view, okay? We wanna make sure that we face the house towards the view. I try not to face houses due west though, okay? If you face due west and all your main windows are facing due west, you'll get cooked like an ant under a magnifying glass when the sun is setting in the evening. And let me add this, call 811 before you dig anything, okay? There could be cable wires, pipes, power wires, all kinds of stuff in the ground. If you dig them up and mess them up, you might be liable. Don't call 911, don't call 411, call 811. All right, number four, let's talk about grading. You wanna make sure that the water is gonna run away from your house in all directions. And actually, a lot of people don't know this, but it's actually building code that your water runs away. That's called positive drainage. Negative would be if it's running towards your house. Not good, you do not want that. So you need to make sure your foundation or your slab is sticking up enough out of the ground to where you can slope the dirt up to it and have water running away. In this case, we're doing a slab and we're gonna have it sticking about 10 inches out of the ground actually, so that we can slope the dirt up to it and have water running away. All right, the third item, let's talk about your sewer and water connections. Before we pour the concrete in these footings, we wanna make sure that we have sleeves underneath the footings so that we don't have to dig under the footings by hand later for the water to come in and the sewer to go out. In this area, the water line has to be at least 18 inches below the outside grade to keep it from freezing. It may be way deeper up north. And then the sewer was really important too. We actually dug up the tank to find out the exact elevation of the inlet to the tank to make sure that our line coming out of the house was not lower than that, okay? It has to be going downhill from the house to the tank. So that is a really important step to make sure to do. So it's a good idea to get a builder to look at your piece of property before you buy it. Also, make sure it has a septic approval. That's been a problem before. I've seen people buy property that you couldn't put a septic system on anywhere. And also, I think it's a great idea if you can drill the well like we have back here before you build the house, just to make sure you're gonna get water. In a mountainous area like this, sometimes you don't hit water, and that's a huge problem if you want a house. Okay, number five, you need to know the codes for the foundation in your area. So in our area, I know that the bottom of the footings have to be 1 foot below grade for the frost line. It may be different in your area. Number two, I know that the width of the footings has to be at least 16 inches wide for the type of structure we're building. And number three, I know that there's no steel required in our footings, but I'm gonna do that anyway because it's really cheap insurance that your footing will last a really long time. All right, number six, and this sounds really simple, but it's really worth thinking about. Concrete trucks have to bring the concrete to pour in these footings, right? A concrete truck is huge. You have no idea how big it is if you've never seen one in person. So I like to map out beforehand, plan out how he's gonna get in here, whether he's coming frontwards, whether he's coming backwards, how he's gonna get the chute to all these different sections of the house. And if there's no way for him to do that, I'll hire a concrete pumper truck to help us get the concrete from the truck into the footings. Now you can wheelbarrow it or carry it in buckets, but that's gonna be a lot more work. Trust me, I've done that one before. Having a pump truck does make things a lot easier, but I'm gonna say that on average, they cost $500 to $600 to pump a normal foundation like this. And that's just transporting the concrete from the concrete truck to the footings. That's nothing to do with buying the concrete. All right, number 7, once you have all this infrastructure stuff figured out and you know where your house can go, do spend as much time as you need to square up your structure with string lines and reference pins. And don't rush on this, okay? If you get this thing set up all out of square and you dig your footings all out of square, it's gonna come back to bite you the whole way through the process. So we use reference pins, and we also use lasers and all kinds of equipment to make sure that the actual footings are the perfect size and shape. So generally speaking, I'll put a grade peg and I'll set it with a laser about every 4 feet through the length of the entire footing, and that helps to get the concrete nice and level, okay? If you have to lay the block on this concrete footing yourself, you will really thank yourself over and over again when the footing doesn't do like this the whole way down. All right, some final notes here. If you do have a septic system that's existing, make sure to mark where the tank is. Let's paint over here. Because you don't want a big truck running that thing over, it'll go right into the tank. So that's number 1. I also mark all the other locations for the inlets, for the sewer and the water. And in general, you just want to check your plans time and again to make sure the work you're doing matches what you're trying to build, because sometimes mistakes are made and it's good if you catch them early. Thanks for watching our video today. Hope it helped you out, and we'll see you next time.